Hi everybody and welcome to Cultivation with yours truly. My name is Cassidy McClure and I'm a psychic medium based out of Colorado, and today I have the monthly recap for October 2019. In these monthly recaps, I like to go over the astrology of the month that we just had. I like to go over the energies that I noticed floating around. I like to go into some personal stuff that's happening with me, some stuff that's happening with cultivation, and then I do a little playlist for the month. It's just songs that I have discovered this past month and loved dearly. I am synesthetic, so I'm able to kind of see and experience music in a way that's very cool. So very into that, love sharing it just in case you find a little gem that you like. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started. This month, October, as far as astrology goes, we had Pluto turning direct in Capricorn. This planet, the planet of death, rebirth, transformation, has been retrograde since April and turned direct at the beginning of this month, basically kind of helping us move forward in those themes of transformation, and also asking us to kind of look at those past 6 months and reflect on the themes of power and control and structure and how those have shown up in our lives. Then we had Mercury going into Scorpio, so Mercury, the mind, the way that we think, going from Libra, which is also the way that we communicate, Mercury. Going from Libra, which is very balanced, harmonious, thinking about partnerships, giving, taking, all of those things, what's fair, to kind of really deep, dark, secretive, very perceptive, kind of occult. So thinking in ways where we're trying to kind of uncover things or be detectives, or we might find ourselves being a lot more perceptive. Then we had Mars going into Libra, so from Virgo, which is like kind of this very efficient, detail-oriented, kind of service-oriented way of taking action, which is Mars, going into that Libra. So Mars, the way in which we take action, going into that more harmonious kind of give and take, which is not really where Mars likes to be, because Mars is the planet of war, action, sexuality, so it kind of likes to be like up and out there, and Libra is kind of like, no, let's just see what everybody else wants, and let's kind of chill and see how we can like make this a very beautiful, harmonious thing. So Mars is sitting there kind of feeling a little bit like he wants to go forward and can't really in the way that he wants to. Then we had Venus going into Scorpio from Libra. So again, Venus, what we value, what we love, self-worth, things like that, money. Going from that kind of harmonious Libran theme to that deep, dark, intense Scorpio theme. So yeah, it's intense, it's passionate. My Venus is in Scorpio natally, so the way in which I value and love can be very all-consuming, very kind of like sharp at times, all or nothing kind of feeling. And so then we go into the middle of the month where we had our full moon in Aries. So this was kind of humbly stepping into the new us. New moons are good for setting intentions. Every 6 months we have a new moon in a sign and a full moon in a sign. So 6 months ago we had our full moon in, I've been saying this wrong the whole time. I'm just kidding. The full moon. So we had the full moon in Aries, which means 6 months ago we had the new moon in Aries. So kind of revisiting the things that we had planted and initiated 6 months ago, and then seeing how they've kind of blossomed and become full. So full moons are good for realizing intentions, releasing things, refining things. New moons are good for setting intentions. So we had that full moon in Aries, which, like I said, kind of humbly stepping into the new you, looking back 6 months ago, being like, all right, what were my ambitions for myself? Aries is a sign of self. It's initiation, it's action, it's doing things, the way in which you do things. And so kind of thinking like, how do I want to tweak that? How do I want to adjust that? Some of the things that I might have wanted to do back in April might have shifted. I don't really know that I want to do those anymore. How am I going to step into this new way of doing? Then we had on the 23rd, we had the sun go into Scorpio from Libra. So again, harmonious into intense, passionate death and rebirth, those cycles. The Halloween season, Samhain, and all those good things are kind of in that area of Scorpio, that space that's held by this deep, dark, transformative energy. So the sun, that's our ego. So the spotlight on our ego is now going to be kind of showing us the deeper, darker sides of ourselves. Then we, today, on the 27th, have the new moon in Scorpio. So starting new beginnings in Scorpio. Looking back 6 months ago to the full moon in Scorpio and thinking, okay, what happened there? What did I release there? And how do I want to kind of reinitiate a new thing? So this new moon is really all about kind of finding a new emotional way of being. And it also has a square to Uranus and Taurus, which is kind of giving us this new sense of revolution. It's like radical self-love being an act of revolution. Knowing how to take care of and nurture and love and respect and value yourself is a revolutionary action. It is setting you up for your own success, and it is setting up everyone around you for success as well. So kind of looking at that, how we want to go into a new emotional way of being, how we want to die, how we want to be reborn, energetically, of course, spiritually. Then we have, this is super fun, on Halloween, we have Mercury going retrograde in Scorpio. So it's kind of what we began at the beginning of the month when Mercury first went into Scorpio, certain kinds of things that came up at the beginning of the month, themes around secrets, around really deep wounding, really old habits as well, kind of coming up. So Mercury going retrograde here is it's starting on the 31st, so I'm not really going to talk about it too much because it's kind of near the end, but that's going to be a lot about us revisiting earlier this month and revisiting the way in which we communicate emotionally, the way in which we think and attach emotionally. Sometimes we can kind of be on obsessive thought loops about things. I know I can be that way. And so kind of really going over that and trying to look at the things that we're obsessing over and the things that we're mentally attaching to and the way in which we communicate our emotions, essentially. So that's all of the astrology for this month. As far as energies go, I found that at the beginning of the month there was a lot of this really beautiful nurturing of relationships, a reflection around the way in which we care for one another, and also kind of the way in which we care for ourselves in relationship with another, but just kind of people being busy really connecting to those that they love and trying to also think, what new relationships do I want to foster? Do I want to be friends with this really cool person? Do I want to ask this person out? Do I want to start to have, a club where I have people kind of meeting up? So kind of thinking about partnering in that way and nurturing relationships in that way. And then it also seemed kind of outward in a lot of ways. And then as the month kind of came down to Scorpio season, let's say, I'm like thinking of a metaphor like it was like shaking down or something, like the dense bits were shaking down for us to discover at the end of the month, which is now. And those dense bits are a lot of shadow work, which is going into the parts of you that you don't really like that much, or that are shameful or embarrassing, or the ways in which you might react to things that makes you feel like, whoa, I'm not actually that kind of person. Why did I act that way? Things like that. Really looking inside, looking at the shadow self, the bits of you that are a little bit gnarly, and working through those. The other thing, yeah, like I said before, really old, crusty issues coming up from years ago, ways in which we relate to one another and to ourselves that we've been doing for a long time that's really not working for us and giving us the same results. Obviously, we keep doing the same thing, we're going to get the same result. And then kind of being faced with that and being asked, is this the pattern that you want to continue to hold in your life, or do you want to change it? Is it so comfortable for you that you can't change it? If so, you're going to have to just be comfortable with getting the same result from every relationship you've ever been in, the same cycle of it going downhill, every friendship you've been in, the same cycle of things not working out, the same self-worth cycle where you think that you're kind of gassing yourself up and feeling really confident, but you're really just putting a band-aid over a deeper shadow work issue that you might need to look at. So kind of just things coming up for us to look at, and then really being able to consciously make that choice whether or not we want to continue that pattern. And if we don't, then we have to physically change that. We have to take action to change that. We can't just sit around and be like, oh, well, that no longer serves me. Okay, great. Step one, you realize it no longer serves you. Now you have to actively, daily, see it when it comes up. And when it comes up, you have to deal with it when it comes up. You have to try to work through it, remind yourself of your truth, and all of that fun stuff like that. But I mean, all of this deep, dark, dirty, gross shit is truly just compost for our garden. So, that's the whole thing about cultivation. You have to get kind of gross, get dirt under your fingernails so you can till that soil and grow something beautiful from that. And I promise you, on the other side of these issues that are coming up, that are difficult and that are painful and that often have to do with our really deep inner self that we don't want to show other people, when we face these things and we work through them, the amount of freedom on the other side of that is absolutely immeasurable. And everything in your life will start to change, and those relationship patterns will fall away, and the friendship patterns and the work patterns and the self-love patterns, all of those things, or lack of, will fall away once you start to do this inner work and do this kind of composting there with your soul. As far as personal stuff goes, I've been really nurturing myself and my relationships. I've been every single day having a daily practice of confronting my shadow and working through things and consciously reminding myself that I am loved and I love myself and I'm not alone and everything's working out, and kind of constantly reminding myself that even when I don't necessarily believe it, but then just always opening that heart up and really focusing on how open my heart is or how much in love I'm living. Which brings me to I had a friend pass last month, and his memorial was at the beginning of this month, and I went to that. It was one of my psychic friends that I had met at the Psychic Institute that I went to and worked out for a bit. He passed, and it's interesting when people pass and you can you're kind of able to do this work, because I mean, he's still around. I see him all the time. I feel him. I hear him all the time. But it's weird not having it in the physical. So I went to that memorial, and this actually goes into the music a little bit too. So I will tell this story. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video today, but essentially, I went to the memorial, and I had just a musician I like, Devendra Banhart, had released a new album called Ma, and I'd been listening to that a lot, and there's a song on there called Memorial, and I'd been thinking of my friend listening to the song, and then we went to the memorial, my friends and I, and there was a beautiful, beautiful chant that was led by another mutual friend, and the chant was Ma, and what was it? Something else. It was something about being beautiful, bountiful, blissful, and free, or something like that. But it was this really beautiful moment for me where all of this work that I've been doing and that I continue to do really connected for me. And there was this all of this talk about love and about opening one's heart, and how my friend who had passed had always done that and had always really truly lived in love. And so I've been really, really, really focusing on that, because I asked him how, if he could send me some signs or how I could keep his memory alive. And he just told me, look at the flowers. And when your heart is open and you're looking at the flowers, that's me. And so I just wanted to offer that to you all as well. Maybe some advice, especially during this time where we are dealing with shadow work, is to keep that heart open. So that's been my journey this month. I've also been learning a lot, really diving deeply into books and courses and really trying to better myself. I started writing my own course, so that is in the works. I'm going to make my friends take it to see if it's good and efficient and helpful first. So it should be available to you all. I'm going to put a deadline of March on that this upcoming spring. So look out for that. This course is going to teach you all about how to heal yourself, how to ground yourself, how to know what your energy is and what other people's energy is, how to really grow that heart space, that confidence, your ability to manifest and receive. It's also going to go into the actual process of manifestation that I like to use for myself, which is very chakra based. It's called embodied manifestation. You can see where your manifestation is on a chakra level, and wherever it's getting stuck is where in your life you have blockages to actually having that calm down and embody on that first chakra level, which is the body chakra. So working on that course, really disciplining myself and my mind, getting back into poetry. I've always loved to write, and I don't anymore, and it's kind of bullshit. I want to publish a poetry book maybe next year, so looking into that. Also, cultivation with community. Those circles are starting today, actually. They are in person at my place, but they're also live streamed via the Cultivation with Community Facebook group, so go check that out. They're awesome. They're donation based, so you can throw me a couple bucks via Venmo, or you can just enjoy them and use these to help do little rituals for yourself. The circles are going to be every second and fourth Sunday, unless otherwise noted in the Facebook group, and they will be going over the astrology of the moment, energetics of the moment, and kind of going from there. I want to have all of us do a manifestation, share with the group, and hold space for each other's manifestations as well. I shouldn't call them manifestations. I want to call them blueprints, because the manifestation is when it is actually here, but the blueprint is kind of the vision board of it, if you will, the idea of it, the outline of it. So holding space for everybody to share their blueprints if they want, and then all of us kind of holding this magic cauldron of awesomeness so that they can all actually come to pass. So yeah, circles happening today. I have to go clean my basement and get set up for those pretty soon. And then I guess last but not least, music. So Ma Devendra Banhart, really good. I love him, but this is a good album. All of his albums are good. This is another good album by him. I'm not surprised. I really like the song, obviously, Memorial and Boyfriends in the Band. That one's like, kind of my jam. Every time I go see a band that I like, I usually have a crush on the singer, so I'm like listening to that. I'm like, my boyfriend's in the band. And it's, like a dumb little thing that I think is funny, because I've always wanted to date somebody in a band. Heavy Lifter by Howdy. This is an album that came out on the 18th, and this album is one of my favorite albums of the entire year, if not my favorite album of the entire year. Well, I shouldn't say that. there have been a lot of good albums this year, but I really, 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 really like it. It feels so deeply nostalgic to me that it hurts. It feels as if the energy that is in that album like just connects with me on such a heart level, and it makes me feel like I'm reliving my own memories written through somebody else's experience. It's very cool. Music does that for me sometimes in general, but Howdy has a really, really good way of conveying my specific type of energetic nostalgia. Then we have Field Medic. I just started listening to all of his stuff this month. I love the fuck out of him. He's really cool. He's like lo-fi folk music, like kind of, I don't know how else to describe it. I hate genres, but he's really cool. He's cool. He's funky. He's folky. He's definitely hipstery, right up my alley, alternative, all that good stuff. Super sweet too, like very, very cute with the things that he does and the way that he creates. He writes a lot of haikus and does a lot of like collages and stuff. He's just very artistic, super sweet. I also have been really into Sean Henry. He's pretty quirky and fun. And then Florist has a new album called Emily Alone, which I did not hear about. I haven't listened to Florist in actually a couple of years. And then one of the songs, Shadow Bloom, came on my Spotify shuffle, and I was just like taken, just taken by it. It's a beautiful album. And it has really helped me after my breakup to remember how sacred being alone really can be and really is. So I would recommend that. This video has been way longer than I usually like them to be. I usually like them to be 10 minutes, but this one's extra long, mostly because of my rambling and my memorial story and all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to let you go so that I can go get the space ready for my circle tonight. I hope you all tune in on the Facebook group. And yeah, have fun with this amazing transformational time. Everything's going to be okay, and you're a total badass. And I love you very much. Have a great rest of your day.